Townhall.
Hello everybody. Testing the sound first. Please let me know in Townhall chat if you can hear me well.
DJ Savage on the ones and twos.
Yeah. DJ Star Savage. So well, let's start. Let's get started. Welcome everyone to a new edition of the Star Atlas Townhall. This edition is number 16. I am here with Michael. Michael, how are you? Michael Wagner, CEO of Star Atlas. If you don't know him, he's pretty active out here. So yeah, Michael, how are you, man?
Good, man. How are you, Santi? How was your week?
I'm doing great, man. What an intense week. Having some coffee right now, you know, chilling here. Do you have something to drink today?
I am sipping on water.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Yeah, I
So
know
yeah,
you guys had a pretty tough week out there in the community, I think. Just a lot of growth, right? I mean, a lot of
yeah,
people,
man.
a lot of questions. I sincerely appreciate everyone on our community moderation team and community leadership team. You guys are doing a great job answering those questions. And also just a quick thank you to everyone else out in the community who is helping us respond to those questions. The growth has been explosive. It's overwhelming, but also great to see.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Thank you, Michael. I really want to thank everybody who's helping out there as well. Our moderators, Suhail, Diego, Sistine, Hossein, and every single one who is helping us to onboard new people and also helping the people that we already have in the servers. So yeah, if you're new here, this is the Sir Atlas Townhall. This is the place where we ask questions live to Michael, and we try to keep you everyone updated on what's happening around the Star Atlas metaverse. So yeah, Michael, what do you think if we jump straight to business now?
I think it's a great idea. I'm sure there's a lot of questions, a lot to cover. So yeah, let's hop right in.
Yes, there's a lot, pretty intense week. A lot of things happened. So what do you think if we start doing like usual a recap from you of what happened this week, and maybe later we can go a little bit more into detail.
Yeah, man. Happy to jump in and do that. Do we want to give just a preview of kind of the purpose of these town halls and description, high level description of the game for people first, for all of those new members in the audience? I see, we're hitting records in the town hall listenership as well. So should we give a brief overview first with Pablo, and then I can jump in?
Sounds perfect. Then let's welcome Pablo here to the stage. Pablo is our CRO and co-founder. Welcome, Pablo. How are you?
Hello. How's everyone doing? Hey, Michael, Santi, DJ Savage, community. How's everyone going? Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining us. How do you feel to give us a little brief explanation about what's Star Atlas and what we are trying to achieve for the newcomers?
Of course. Well, Star Atlas is a virtual gaming metaverse, and we are playing with things like state-of-the-art blockchain, real-time graphics, multiplayer video game subject matter expertise, all harnessing decentralized financial technologies and NFTs. So at Star Atlas, we're using blockchain technology powered by Solana's protocol and platform. We believe that this is establishing for us and our user base and our community a very decentralized approach to the experience, while bringing and harnessing security for us as well. A little bit on the technology side for the gaming real-time player is the Unreal Engine 5 Nanite, which gives this cinematic quality, real-life video game visuals that can all be engaged with and at some point owned through NFTs. A lot that has been discussed throughout our company and Michael through his thought leadership has been the concept around play to earn. We're also big believers in being at the forefront of transitioning that conversation, even as early as we are right now, to play to own. And I'm sure Michael will expand as to what that means. So, our cutting edge technologies are creating the Star Atlas environment, online ecosystem, and it's being used by people globally right now. So I hope this explains a little bit about us. You can go to staratlas.com or play.staratlas.com so you can experience our rich marketplace that is always being enhanced by our engineering team and product development team. Of course, always being built on the DEX powered by Serum. So we have a wonderful ecosystem at Solana, a lot of integrations that currently exist and a lot more to come in the future. So yeah, I hope this gives our new members a little glimpse as to where we are today at Star Atlas.
Thanks, Pablo. Great explanation for sure. And so this week we launch our two first waves of the Galactic Asset Offering with different ships, going from the Opal Jet to the Calico Guardian. And yeah, Michael, what do you think if you give us a little recap on what happened?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Pablo. That was a great intro. It's been an exciting time for us. Let me just recap a little bit through August, because it's been quite the blur with one campaign after the other. But some of the notable achievements were the full interactive DEX experience on our marketplace with buy-sell functionality and the full display of order books. Getting that launched enabled all of our user base to be able to transact and trade directly on our marketplace, as opposed to seeking out and utilizing one of the external venues. I will say that what's really cool about the way that we're building out this decentralized technology and the Solana and Project Serum ecosystem itself is that it opens up accessibility to any developer who wants to develop a user interface around the trading of these assets. And so, there's another site like Dex Lab that's really cool, Radium's really cool. And a key differentiator across Serum versus something like the liquidity pools or AMMs on Ethereum is that we operate on a central limit order book, which means that all of the liquidity and trade volume is aggregated into a single pool and then traded across every single UI. So we were happy to get that full DEX functionality integrated. That rolled into the release of our game economics and tokenomics white paper. If you haven't read that, please take a look on our website. You can find our white paper as well as the game economy paper at staratlas.com. We rolled out the new website, which is really immersive, and we've gotten immense positive feedback on that product, alongside a cinematic teaser trailer that was also released. That led us into the end of August, where we executed on our token generation event, which was deployed across FTX, across Radium, and across the Apollo X pool. The Apollo X pool was a kind of a collaboration, a cross-chain interoperable collaboration with a team building out on Binance Smart Chain. Additionally, at the beginning of September, we rolled out our Pierce X4 studio trailer. So a lot of people have been requesting gameplay footage or in-game footage. Now, while we're still very early in development, we thought it was critical for us to be able to demonstrate to you, the player, the gamer, the user, what these assets are going to look like when we go live in Unreal Engine in the future. And so that studio trailer was a real nanite-based asset that was created in Engine, in Unreal, and presented to you cinematically so that you would have an idea of what gameplay is going to look like. Obviously, this last week, again, just kind of rolling forward, this last week was really big on the Galactic Asset Offering. We rolled out the first two waves of ships through play.staratlas.com, as well as a couple of custom skins. 3 unique skins for in collaboration with FTX, as well as a unique Radium skin that can be earned by participating in liquidity pools at radium.io. So if you haven't seen that promotion and you have some Atlas or Polis and you want to contribute to the liquidity pool, which not only earns you yield, but now will give you the ability to earn these skins, these exclusive skins as well, then would encourage you to go take a look again at radium.io. So with all that said, big thank you to the community for all of the support that you guys are showing us. Just a crazy launch for us, and I have to emphasize here that, everything we're doing right now is very early. It is still very experimental. So there's advantages and disadvantages to that, and being involved in that process early. So what you all are experiencing and seeing with us is kind of the earliest phase of development and rollout of these new products, and they will naturally be improved and enhanced over time. I like to refer back to the launch of the Rebirth campaign, which was our initial NFT marketplace experience for the digital art collectibles, that revealed the lore of the game, as well as gave users access to loot drops of in-game assets. And when we kicked that off day one, it also wasn't a perfectly seamless experience. We are pre-alpha software. We're working with a beta blockchain, and we're also working with beta software that is Project Serum. Now, given the scale and rapid pace of our development and growth, we're actually able to contribute back positively to both the Solana and Serum ecosystems, as well as improve upon our own processes. So, once again, if you participated in Rebirth, you will note that the earliest experience wasn't the best, but by the time that we got to the close of that campaign, it was operating flawlessly. And we certainly expect for that to be the case here in the Galactic Asset offering as well. So this Galactic Asset offering will continue in through the end of the year, and really, to be honest, into perpetuity. So the first 9 ships that you saw, really just the beginning. We currently have a catalog of 120 ships that will be rolled out over the coming weeks, with about 40 in total, so another 30 or so coming out by the end of the year. Going into 2022, as we roll out Unreal Engine development experiences and modules, you'll also be able to participate in the marketplace experience directly in-game through a game client. So big thank you out there to everyone who participated. Big apology to anyone who is frustrated by the experience, who maybe didn't get what they want. We definitely hear your voice. We recognize that. Even if we're not immediately responding to you, we do hear you, and we do talk about it, and we do strategize behind the scenes to constantly improve the experience for you all. Ultimately, what we're trying to deliver to you is best-in-class experience across the board, from the gameplay when that actually comes out, to the interactive experience across our marketplace, our marketing and comms and communications, and sharing with you all of the progress that we're making along product design and asset design. So let me pause there, Santi, and that's kind of a recap of where we have been the last month.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So I was going to ask you if you can provide us with some more insight on how was the sale execution, because I know that some people had some questions about how we are posting the NFTs for sale and how it works inside Serum. Do you think you can give us some insight on that?
Yeah, definitely. So let's start with the Galactic Asset offering ship brochure that we released. The idea there was that you would have a catalog of assets and understand essentially the base pricing models associated with each of the various ship classes. There's a reason that we are withholding, or have been withholding, the specific information related to every ship's price. It was honestly intended to be in your best interest as a person coming to purchase these from us at MSRP. The issue was that if we reveal these prices in advance, because of the way that the decentralized exchange works, people would be able to front run you and place orders ahead of you before we actually listed the item. So we tried to be a bit obscure about what the underlying pricing was until we listed those assets, and we assumed that all of the users would be sitting there on the marketplace ready to purchase. Now, as it turns out, people front ran the orders anyway. And so we have a couple of areas where we'll be improving on that process. The first of which is greater transparency and earlier awareness of what the pricing of each one of these ships will cost, or any of the assets that we list, what they will cost before we go live on the market. I would also comment here just surrounding the day one instability of the platform. Again, noting that we're really at the emerging edge of development on Solana and on Serum. And a lot of even the networking infrastructure or architecture isn't fully understood or fully refined by everybody that are developing in the ecosystem. And so this networking layer typically refers to the way that the network the nodes communicate with one another, or RPC nodes. This is a communications layer, and that happens to be a bottleneck right now on the Solana network. So state changes happen very quickly. But when you have a surge in traffic on any particular application, we've seen a lot of instability, and this has happened on multiple NFT drops across Solana. We're not discouraged by this whatsoever. We were able to source and sort that RPC issue through some private node infrastructure that we implemented for Thursday. And so, just seeing some of the improvement immediately, the site was quite unstable on the immediate launch on Tuesday, but Thursday, it executed flawlessly. Now, we do know that users are still experiencing some inventory issues where things don't refresh. Serum also has a unique mechanic that requires settlement of transactions, so you have to claim. That's not something that we introduced. That's just the way that the DEX was coded. We will be working on improving that as well, so that the transactions or purchases that you make will auto settle and display earlier in your inventory. But for the time being, understand that these are all on-chain transactions. If you've made a purchase, if it deducted funds from your account, you will receive the asset. And in many cases, you can even go to one of these third parties like Step.Finance and view that asset that is being displayed earlier than it's being displayed on our site. And that's again, because of the surge in traffic that we're getting. There's a lot of you out there. There's a lot of interest, a lot of hype around Star Atlas right now. And so we just have to work through this and improve this process so that it's a bit more seamless going forward. And we're dedicated to doing that. And again, our track record, I think, demonstrates that we do make these consistent improvements over time. One of the other changes related to ship sales or asset releases that I think this is a bit of an alpha drop, Santi. I know everybody's kind of looking for alpha. This is going to excite some people. This is going to disappoint a few other people. But given the catalog of ships that we currently have ready to roll out, and in fact, we have a lot of ship assets that are already created. They've gone from concept art through production art, and we will be enhancing the visuals on the site as well. Right now, you're looking at a single asset, but in the near future, you'll see kind of a rotary of assets that get displayed for every single one of the ships that you own. But we've made the determination internally that the ships that are being sold now, we don't have any immediate objective of reissuing those assets again in the future. So if you bought a ship, if you got in during the sales in the Galactic Asset offering, whatever the total supply is, that is the intended total supply going into the immediate future. If it's possible, because we've talked about these generations of assets, but it's possible at some point in the distant future, this could be a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, that we re-enable the sale of a secondary sale of these galactic assets. But to be honest with you, it's unlikely because we have 120 ships and we can continue to innovate and create new ships over time. And there are plenty of opportunities to purchase an item that fulfills your strategy across the various ship sizes. So kind of curious to get all of your feedback on that. But again, for those of you that purchase ships over these last 2 drops, that is the total supply. And the only way that somebody will be able to acquire those in the future is if they purchase them from another user on the secondary market. So other things that we're working on that will improve the sale experience is the engineering team just yesterday was able to come up with an on-the-fly solution so that we could essentially clear out the order book. I'll mention here a bit of a technical limitation that we discovered. So on traditional centralized exchange markets, you're able to execute a limit order fully into the book. On a decentralized exchange, there's a limitation on the amount of instructions that can be included in a single block or single transaction. And so what happened over this week was when people were front-running bids or front-running the book, we were attempting to sell at MSRP. However, we could not execute a sale for the total volume of ships that we wanted to because those transactions would fail when we submitted them to the block. This led to us working on the fly to essentially create a script that would allow us to sell 10 units at a time. However, the purchasing rate in a lot of cases was exceeding the rate with which we could actually sell assets into the pool. And I do want to point out here as well that the traditional and common functionality of any exchange is always to sell at the highest bid down into the liquidity. And so there's no way for us to place an order somewhere lower in the book. We had to sell through all of the liquidity before we could reach our MSRP price. And we did that as expeditiously as we could. But again, the discovery of this technical limitation where we couldn't actually place a single order at MSRP with the total volume of ships that we wanted to sell was something that we had to overcome rapidly, right? So we had to be dynamic there, and we were. And now we have a solution for that. And going forward, as we deploy permissioned markets, we will also have the ability to flush the book in advance of our actual listing. So going into the future, no longer will you have to worry about the people that have the orders that are front running sales, because we will clear the book and then we will place our sale at MSRP and you'll have an opportunity to get in. We'll also look at
Michael,
ways.
Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you, but people are asking what is MSRP, and it may be good to clarify a little bit on that.
MSRP is maximum suggested retail price. So think of it as the price at which we are targeting to initially sell these ships, right? So it's our sale price to the public. Is that sufficient?
Yeah. I think so. Thank you.
You got
I
it.
will
Yes.
let you continue now.
Great. No, glad we clarified that. The other thing that we'll be looking at is, we don't necessarily want to restrict someone's ability to bulk buy. There's a lot of questions out there about, whales are buying up all of the supply, they're trying to flip. We're not trying to create a flippers market, but I think it's important for everyone to understand that we have some very, very large guilds getting into the game. We have a close relationship with YGG. They have 50,000 players across their guild alone. And so while we want to be fair in the distribution of assets, understand that you're essentially competing with a global audience right now to purchase and own these assets and earn from these assets in the future. So we'll look at improving that process, but as it stands, we're not necessarily trying to restrict the quantity that any group or individual can purchase, simply because we know that a lot of these players that are purchasing in bulk do intend to utilize them in the game. And for us, that's important. So if players are actually utilizing the assets, deploying the assets, creating economic value in the metaverse, that is a net positive for every other player. So while it's a bit competitive right now, this is kind of part of the experience. And I've said many times that you're already playing the game. You're not actually flying around in virtual space, but everything that we're doing right now, from the Rebirth campaign through the TGE, through the Galactic Asset Offering, this is all a component of your strategy. So think about how you want to execute now, because it has implications for your ability to participate in the future. And then the final improvement that I would mention right now is that the team is implementing webhooks on the marketplace as well. So once again, because we interact directly with the DEX, we're somewhat subject to the way that code was written. Normally, that there's a refresh rate on the page, and we can't really increase the refresh rate because then it would cause instability on our RPC nodes. And so we were refreshing the marketplace, the DEX, every 5 seconds. But this leads to a potential negative experience where you see an item at a fixed price on the book, you try to place an order for that item, and it fails because the transaction, the trade, or that price was actually already consumed. It was gone. Somebody had purchased that item, but you're getting an artifact of that still being displayed in the DEX. So we want to improve on that, and we're going to have real-time price feeds in the Galactic Asset Offering marketplace going into the future. So no longer will have to wait for that lag or that delay for the refresh on the marketplace. And we think that's going to help tremendously with people that are trying to get orders in and trying to buy, and then having those transactions fail simply because the item no longer exists at that price point. So I think overall, though, we feel pretty good about the way everything was executed. It was great for us from a sales and revenue standpoint, and this is all capital that we are immediately redeploying back into the growth of this company and to the development of the Star Atlas metaverse. So I'm super looking forward to growing our team by 300 to 400%. I would say by this time next year, we'll probably be 400 to 500 people. We might even be able to execute on that sooner. So again, those are kind of major updates for the way that the process worked. I think trying to address some of the concerns that were out there. None of this was executed with the intent of misleading anybody. We were trying to look out for your best interest, and we're learning as we go, and we're improving as we go. So hope everybody appreciates that. And yes, Santi, I'll pause there, and maybe we open up for questions.
Yeah,
or
Michael. Thank you very much for all the details on this. I think it really helps to clarify a lot on what we are building and how the execution went. And yeah, first, before moving forward, I want to thank everybody who's here. We are at nearly 1,000 people live. So it's kind of insane, all the support that we are receiving from the community. And yeah, thank you, everyone. And so now let's continue, Michael. Can you give us, before we open the stage to live questions, can you give us a little bit of overview on how the future of Star Atlas in the short term looks like with the faction registration and the minigame?
Yeah, so there were a number of features that we have prepared that are kind of ready to roll out that we thought would actually be a little too chaotic, just given the excitement levels that were out there on the Galactic Asset offering itself. And so we've delayed by about a week the faction registration and profile viewing and some of the more intricate features that are going to be rolling out during the user enrollment period, which is kind of your pre-access or early access into the minigame. So look forward to that coming soon. You'll be able to select your faction, guild selection, name purchasing, vanity addresses or names that are registered on the Star Atlas naming service. That's all coming up pretty soon, as well as the next immediate rollout following enrollment will be ship missions, where you'll be able to take your fleet of ships and commit them to a mission. We are working on also ensuring that you have multiplayer gameplay available. So you'll actually be able to pool your ships with other players and take on bigger and better missions that are accompanied by bigger rewards. A couple other things real quick, just on the token side. I know that there were kind of I guess concerns. This is a sensitive subject. There were concerns out there about what the vesting schedule looks like. We did try to be very transparent in the economic paper about what that vesting schedule looks like, what the release schedule. Just to be perfectly clear here, we made a last-minute modification on the vesting. And to preface it, I would just say that we conducted extensive due diligence on all of the parties that we executed private sales with earlier this year, and they were, these were completed back in February and March. We closed out those allocations. So these are people that in some cases got discounts, but also have been holding those tokens well in advance of any product delivery whatsoever. But nevertheless, we have modified the vesting terms so that they would receive 0.5% of their total allocation. By the way, the private pool is approximately 24% of the total supply, but we've modified the vesting terms so that they get 0.5% of their individual allocation over a 10-day period. So that adds up to 5%. And then the remaining 95% of their vesting will take place over the next 730 days, so 2 years, where they will be receiving daily a fraction, 0.13% of their supply. So the idea here is that all of these people that we spoke to early on were demonstrated to us that they were interested in our long-term success. Now, we're not trying to hype the token or pump the token or dump the token. In fact, we try to be removed from the public market dynamic that exists. What we want to do, though, is be as minimally impactful on that public market dynamic. So it's important for us that we don't do anything that makes the price go up or go down. Okay, I mean, everybody has to understand that we are agnostic to what happens in the open market. It is a secondary market now that's open to the world. We have very little control over that whatsoever, nor do we attempt to have any control over that. So wanted to mention that. And Santi, remind me, let me circle back to your original question.
It was, I mean, this is super helpful as well, and thank you for mentioning it. I think we covered everything, but it was how the roadmap looks like in the short term for us.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah. So, I mean, faction selection is going to be a major feature. The name selection is a feature. Profile viewing alongside your assets will be a feature. We've heard your feedback about maybe the transparency on the leaderboards. We're a bit conflicted on that because the reality is this is all public, transparent, open data. Anybody can source that information. So some of the feedback or comments have been that we're essentially placing it on the front page. What we will certainly do is ensure that your registered username, if you secure one of those vanity addresses, will not be associated with your particular address. We might go so far as to obscure the specific wallet address and just leave the economic values. But this is kind of similar to the way that almost every single blockchain works, where there is always a view of to the top balances or top wallets across any ecosystem. And so if you're new to crypto, it's important for you to understand that the entire space is essentially pseudo-anonymous. You have anonymity to the extent that a wallet cannot be associated with your individual, say, username or anything that's personally identifiable back to you. However, anybody in the world can see every transaction and every balance that has ever existed across every single blockchain. That is what allows us, from a philosophical and technical standpoint, to eliminate the requirement of trust. That is the core component that allows blockchain to work the way that it does, right? We can eliminate the trust in another individual because everybody has full transparency into the system. And I adamantly and fervently believe in that philosophy and that ethos. And I think if you're operating in this space, it's important for you to understand what exactly that means. But again, regardless of whether or not we post that information on our site or not, anybody can identify your wallet address. And if you're concerned about being targeted, you would be targeted regardless. The people that are looking to undertake malicious activity are already more than capable of scanning wallet addresses via a simple API call and determining what your balance is. So we think it's a cool feature. We'll continue to hear you out on ways that we can improve it, but I don't think it's something that's going to go completely away, although we will add different leaderboard mechanisms so that it's not purely based on a numerical dollar value of assets within an address, or across a guild or across a faction. And again, it's really intended to be informative for the player or the group of players. Because if you understand where economic value has accrued to date, that means that you might either be interested in continuing to accrete value there or join forces that are already strong, or alternatively, you might deploy a strategy where you understand that since there's more value in a particular region, there's a bigger opportunity in a separate region to develop that out and be more competitive in that space. Because what you guys have to understand is that the way that we distribute assets is not infinite. Everything in this universe is finite by its very nature. The amount of ships that we issue, the amount of Atlas that comes out, the amount of Polis that comes out, the amount of times you can complete a mission, these are all finite in nature. And so if a region is oversaturated with players, yes, it might be easier to earn there, but the per person earning is going to be smaller. And so you might actually be interested in exploring space that doesn't have as many players. It's a bit tougher, but the rewards are better because you're able to earn more proportionally out of the emissions in that particular region. So beyond that, ship missions are going to be really cool. You will be able to command an entire fleet. And part of the configuration of that is determining which ships, if not all of them, out of your fleet you want to commit to a mission. This will be the next phase where play to earn becomes a reality for us. Players will actually be able to use this ship mission module to deploy assets, complete missions, and earn income. But it should also be fun. And Danny Floyd and the product team, and really our whole team here, but Danny Floyd has put a lot of energy and effort into structuring what these mission modules will look like. And so it's super important for us. Our first priority is to make sure that we make something that's fun and entertaining, and then we supplement that with a true decentralized economic system that allows the individual to earn from it. So should be fun. More to come, land development, land purchases, as well as space station configuration. All of this is coming in the future. But yeah, it's just really important, again, that you guys all understand that we are delivering information to you and experience to you as quickly as we can. And if you feel like we're holding anything back, I can tell you we're not. We are revealing everything that we know when we know it, and we know that you want more, but we're giving you everything that we possibly can when timing is appropriate. So once again, let me pause there, and maybe we can move forward, Santi.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. So let's move forward to the next segment of the town hall. If you have any questions, guys, please raise your hand. We will start letting people into the stage. So yeah, I will let someone in. Ray Song.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, man?
Very good. Thank you very much for choosing me here. Let me just start by saying, thank you for like addressing all those issues this week, like head on. It really makes me feel great about the entire process, and is one of the reasons I love investing and putting time to this game. It's absolutely lovely to be able to kind of have those answers addressed so quickly, and also offering solutions. I'm sure that wasn't very easy, and I also just want to, apologize to Santi. I gave him some gears yesterday, so Santi, your boss for taking and answering in the nicest way possible. So thank you very much there. My question is just about the Fimble BIOS Packlight. In the initial launch, before we kind of get to mining, do you see it having like a place in the game for transport missions or something like that, compared to exploration and fighting for the other ships?
It's a great question. Also, Danny, are you out there listening in right now? It would be great to just pull you up in case there's some more gameplay specific questions. I'll invite you up to stage. But what I do want to say is we've fully equipped Santi with bulletproof armor. He loves taking the hard questions and taking these bullets. Right, Santi?
Yeah, man. We are here for that, And
No,
thank you, Ray Song, for your comments.
Yeah, and I am joking, but once again, the growth has been really explosive. So we're not trying to ignore you guys. We're trying to address all the questions. This town hall is one of the methods that we do that. But just understand that compared to the amount of people that are out there and how quickly everything's growing, we're still very, very few, right? So we want to make sure all of this is addressed. We have the best intentions for the community. We want to see this thing grow and evolve. But yeah, please have some patience with us, because the amount of questions and people out there is a bit overwhelming at the moment. But we are going to be growing the team and helping resolve those issues. But yeah, Danny, do you have some input on the Packlight?
Yeah, sure. I guess the easiest way to say it is it doesn't necessarily matter what role you play as and what ship role that satisfies. It's basically like a time-based thing in a way. Like if someone comes in to play an hour of a game, and no matter how they play it, they should be able to get a similar amount of return on their time. So yeah, if you go in with your cargo ship or your combat ship, you're going to be getting similar rewards based on the tier that you're competing in, the tier of your ship, the strength of your ship, and kind of like matches the MSRP that we released it at, and then you're kind of going to see like a return on that in the in-game rewards. So it's just kind of like what kind of gameplay style you like. How do you like to configure your ship to complete these missions, and what's kind of the most fun rewards to get out of that? Hope that answers that.
If I could just follow up for just 1 second. So does that kind of mean like there'll be more well-rounded missions, or it'll be like more specific missions for each different class, and you can align to those, if that makes sense?
Specific, actually. So we have 3 different factions. We have 11 different role mission givers per faction, and the 11 different roles cover the gamut for all the different roles for the ships. So for example, if you take a mission from the refueling mission giver, the mission brief will give you the instructions on like where you're going to go and what you're going to refuel, and then a recommended rating for your ship. So a recommended ship score to meet that, recommended ship role to meet that, and then you assign your ship and launch your mission. And then most of it's auto resolved. We're still discussing like branching that out to some turn-based things, but I think we'll roll that out over time, and version 1 will just be mostly auto resolve with some status updates and some fun like imagery to kind of like enjoy the mission. But also you're going to have the ability to stack ships into a single mission, so you can technically take like a higher tier cargo mission, even if you have a combat ship, and then you can request from the community, hey, I'm about to take this high mission that I won't be able to do, so can somebody fill this slot? Or if you have those ships yourself, then you would fill the slots within to meet that minimum spec. that's recommended to complete the mission. So it's more, the first version is going to be more kind of like fleet configurations rather than individual ship builds. But individual ship builds will come over time too. Ship configuration is a much bigger release on top of the ship mission. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was a fantastic answer.
Cool, man.
Well, thank you for the great question. And just for those of you out there that don't know, we've discussed Pablo's role, co-founder, chief revenue officer. He's also, leadership across marketing, comms, business development, partnerships. But Danny is really the brilliant mind behind the product design. So the game itself, the game product, Danny and his team are leading up all of the creative behind that. And so in many cases, I'm not nearly as well informed as he is on how this product will roll out. My focus is more on economics in the game, blockchain integration, but just so everyone's aware, there is a fourth co-founder, Jacob Floyd. We can't seem to find him ever out in the audience to pull up on stage because he's so busy building in the background, but he leads up the engineering team, and their team right now is fully focused and dedicated to delivering the mini game experience in the near term, as well as focused on improvements across the NFT marketplace that you all interact with currently. So just to kind of make everybody aware, and then since they're on stage, Star Savage here is head of comms, and Santi, of course, is community lead. And he's been structuring and forming his own team within the community to help address all of those questions that you guys have. So just want to recognize a few people, but the team itself just is incredible. I feel so fortunate just to be working with so many brilliant minds and passionate people across the development of this product, Star Atlas. So yeah, we'll keep Danny up here. And Ray Song, thank you again for the question. And it looks like Jessica, maybe you have a question for us.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I had a question, it's open to the floor, about barrier to entry. I've listened to a lot of interviews, read articles saying that you want, Star Atlas to be for everyone, whether you have top of the line gaming rig to just a tablet or a phone, you'll be able to engage in this, great game. But my question specifically pertains to blockchain education. I think if the game were to be released tomorrow, it'll be a tall ask to ask the average gamer to, set up a Solana-based wallet, get funds in there, swap it for USDC, purchase the NFT, and then deploy it to the game. I know the technology is getting better, and I know, Michael, you've been in the space since like 2013. But are you betting that the education of cryptocurrency and blockchain will progress far enough where that barrier will be lower, either naturally, or do you guys have any initiatives or any mechanisms in place to try to get the gamer who loves playing video games, loves sci-fi, but might not know how to navigate the minefield that is the current state of interacting with DeFi and blockchain?
Yeah, fantastic question, and something that is definitely on our mind. And we are working on structuring educational programs so that we can help onboard the mainstream user into crypto. Pablo might have some comments on this that he wants to jump in with, but just at a high level, our immediate target audience, who we were really trying to market to initially, were people who were fluent within the crypto or blockchain ecosystem presently. So those people who understood how to use something like a MetaMask wallet or a Phantom wallet, an in-browser plugin, people who understand how to secure their private, their seed phrase or their private keys that secures their wallet, people who understood how to make transactions across various blockchains. This was our target audience initially. We've very rapidly outgrown that as a demographic, I would say. We're definitely hitting kind of mainstream appeal. And so, yes, we will be putting together, well, what I would say is we are not deferring responsibility of education to the public. We're moving as quickly as we can and understand that there's a lot to learn, and everybody is kind of very demanding of that information very quickly, which is understandable, especially when it has personal financial impact on someone. With that said, though, we will be structuring programs in the future because we know that we have the potential to adopt a global audience of people who have never interacted with blockchain previously. So it's a major focus for us. We will be allocating resources there. It's going to take some time for us to get that up and running. One of the things that we're going to be rolling out immediately, well, I won't say immediately, but in the not too distant future, is an affiliate program. The affiliate program will help us grow our user base, will help us get new users. but we're also going to be directing those individuals who want to be ambassadors of Star Atlas in methods of educating new people to join, right? And they'll be rewarded, they'll be compensated for that behavior, for that activity and helping us grow. What's super, super important to understand, once again, from a philosophical standpoint across crypto, is that this open source community, this ecosystem, does have a high degree of self-responsibility, right? Like, yeah, a lot of people want us to do a lot of things, and we want to do a lot of things, but understand that there's plenty of resources out there for people to educate themselves as well. With that said, we want to make it as seamless as possible and easy as possible to get into the game and to start learning crypto, and to empower people globally with an understanding of just how powerful decentralization and trustless environments actually are. So we're working on that. It's a great question. It's going to take us a little bit of time to structure that educational material, but we hope that through this collaboration of individuals all over the world who want to participate and are incentivized to help us grow this community and educate this community, we'll get there much quicker than if we tried to handle it from a pure centralized corporate initiative standpoint.
Fantastic. Thank you for the answer, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
I have something to add there, Michael, if you let me. Just say that if you're new and you don't know how to use a Phantom wallet or anything, just come and ask to our Discord, to our other channels. We are really willing to help everyone, and we have a helpful community. So yeah, just come and ask. Don't be shy. We will try to help you.
Well, just to add to that, Santi, before everyone floods over to your direct messages, I'm going to remember this statement. You just asked everyone to come and get you, so I think directly answer that from a program phase. We're kind of taking this 3-4 prong approach, which consists of meeting the user where they are. Right, so we are building on top of Solana ecosystem, and this is something that Solana is also a formula that Solana is looking to solve for, because there are many different tokens and currencies that are sprouting from the platform, and so this is a general a challenge that the entire blockchain and crypto niche market is looking to tackle. So for us, we kind of have to look at the entire buyer's journey or the user's journey. And at sometimes it starts at our website. Sometimes it begins at an exchange. Other times it begins from a PR blog. It all starts in different places. But what we can do is we can't control other ecosystems or outside of our environment. So we're looking at directly on how to refine and optimize the UX UI within play.staratlas.com. And then at the same time, in parallel, we're also working with exchanges. We're working with ecosystems to develop these programs that are, blockchain crypto 101. It doesn't necessarily have to drive, we're not looking to drive people to us. What we're looking to do is facilitate the ease and stickiness for people to partake in this industry, in this space, and if it begins at creating fun quests on coin market cap, hint, and then it begins there, or if it begins in our newsletter, of just creating this short little quiz to get people to engage with learning, right? I think Coinbase has that. They do a really good job because they're mainly focused on that mass market, the mom and pop looking to get into this space. So we are looking at tactically, addressing this challenge. But yeah, it takes time, and we're really big on quality. So we want to be very thoughtful about how we're educating and structuring our programming around this. But great question.
Pablo both threw Santi under the bus and dropped you all with alpha. So I don't know. That's maybe a net neutral, but love it. Great comments, Pablo.
Yeah, thanks, Pablo. We have a lot of people on stage right now. Let's start with SPL Live. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, what's up, guys? My question is pretty simple. I saw somebody asking this in the general chat regarding skins. So, for example, if you get the radium skin for your X5, and let's just say like you use it once. Well, I guess this is a two-pronged question. So, like, let's say you get the radium skin, you fly it out, and you use it once, you can resell it back on the secondary market, correct?
It's a great question. This is actually something that we're still debating internally. Danny, I encourage you to jump in here if we have any thoughts on it. Right, I can give current thinking unless you want to just jump right in.
If you guys are still like working through like the mechanics and stuff like that, like that's fine. I will accept that answer. I just, wanted to get that question out. And so I guess like another thing for you guys to think about, maybe like if the skins get damaged, would that affect the price? Like all these little things,
Yeah, actually, we've been talking about all those factors, and I think the easiest way to break it down is like based on like a tier of the skin. It can have like it could be a smart skin that you can apply it to any ship. You can.
Danny, you have to hold the antenna higher, man. We're losing you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's mostly just based on like the tier of the skin. So if it's a higher tier, then it can possibly be applied multiple times. But there's also the idea of it being consumable, which is you apply it and then it's gone. You can't take it off. So it's basically like paint. So yeah, we're still exploring exactly how to tier that out. But right now with like these exclusive skins from the Rebirth, those are not consumable. Those will be like reusable. Yeah.
I would say though that you're not going to be able to apply a skin to a ship and then turn around and sell it and retain that design on your ship. So for the non-consumable skins, you either have it applied or you don't, and then you can sell the asset while it's not applied. So it's not like a single time purchase and then turn around and flip it. It's either on or off. I just want to quickly address.
Before you go on, just please refrain from the word flip. We have some people in the community who are very anti-flippers market, and they might start raging at you just in case.
Oh, we're anti-flip as well, just to be perfectly clear. None of the execution of what we're doing is intended to provide opportunities to people who are flipping. We're trying to drive the economic value and GDP across the metaverse. We want people who are actively participating, and we've implemented economic features and mechanics in the game, like land value tax, that diminish or eliminate those opportunities. And we won't be able to target it all initially, but trust me that we are not trying to establish a flippers market whatsoever. That is not our intention. One additional thing, there's a question surrounding roadmap. It's on our list. We actually want to get a segment of our new website dedicated to roadmap, so you guys can understand a little bit better about the dynamics behind the development across the minigame, across the Unreal Engine, as well as general product development. And we're hoping to be more transparent with that with you guys. We just need to get that developed, and we'll roll out more information about what our official roadmap looks like, hopefully in the near term.
Okay, Michael, thank you for your answer, and thank you, SPL Leaf, for your question. We also have Oven Punch here. Welcome to the stage, and thank you for all the help that you are giving us, and to newcomers and to everyone in the channels. Really appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for all the work that you're doing. It's been very great so far. I just had a quick question regarding the structures utility. So you mentioned that the game is going to be more focused on exploration at first, and that the mining is something that's going to come later. Does that mean that the utility of structures right now is, well, there's no utility?
Right. So we also held back. We initially were thinking about issuing land assets along with the Galactic Asset offering, but given our own internal assessment of the roadmap, we determined that we were not going to sell any land assets at this time. Now, of course, people received various claims during the Rebirth campaign, and so those have been delivered. You can look forward to not only land asset sales and claim sales coming in the future, but the ability to participate in that crafting gameplay loop, wherein you'll actually be extracting ore from a claim and then using that as part of the supply chain. So refining those materials and ultimately creating inputs based on a blueprint to craft your own NFTs yourself, which you can then either resell or use or increase your fleet. But you are correct that right at the moment, there's no immediate utility for land or land claims. That will be coming. The target is definitely before the end of the year, but it's kind of the secondary objective or priority after delivering ship missions.
And I'm assuming these structures will be sold, right, just like the ships were. And can you also confirm for everyone that these mining drills are worth more than closer to $15 than what they're pricing now?
I am not sure what they're priced at right now. I haven't seen that data, but I guess I'm happy to reveal here that when we priced everything, or we provided the estimated value of all of these assets during Rebirth, we honestly underestimated what the value would be. And so, for people that purchased the Discovery of Iris, the first poster that was valued that we sold at $64, right, and that came with what we thought would be about $58 worth of value, is now probably $110 or $120 worth of value of actual game assets that are getting dropped on that individual. So if you participated with us during Rebirth and you purchased one of those posters, not only do you get the poster for free, the collectible for free, you got access to the IDOs via the ticketing system and some guaranteed allocation, but you're actually getting $120 worth of value in game assets for the $64 that you spent. And that, that is our internal ethos. We want to make you guys feel good. Right. Everything we're trying to do is trying to kind of overcompensate for the, let's call it, risk that you're taking right now and being an early participant in the ecosystem. But we're very much focused on you and making sure that you feel good about all of these. And so if you're disappointed today, trust me, we will kind of reconcile that as we go forward.
Can I just ask one last question? We expect licenses and the cat called Tigu to be sold before the minigame starts?
I'll leave that one to Danny.
Sorry, I missed the question. What was that?
Can we expect licenses, the pilot license, the captain license, and the kitty cat Tigu? Can we expect it to be sold before the minigame starts?
I think we'll sell Tigu, yeah, but the licenses, are we gonna? I'm pretty sure we agreed.
Do it.
Should I say? Okay, all right, yeah. So anyone who bought a ship with 2 seats or more will get a pilot's license dropped into their wallet. Anyone who bought a ship with 3 seats or more will also get a captain's license dropped into their wallet. So those are going to come with your ships, essentially. You don't have to worry about purchasing them on the secondary market. You guys all own it right now.
All right.
But in the game, when you do normally go through the process of progression and it's kind of arbitrary in the mini game because there's no like, hey, learn how to fly a ship. Okay, now you get a pilot's license and a ship. So that's more for later. But yeah, there you go.
All right,
Thanks
and just
for answering that.
Yeah, one final point on that. Danny clarified with me this morning, but if you have a captain's license, that applies across all of the ships that you own. So you don't need a single captain's license or pilot's license for every asset. It is you, your avatar, your character that gets the license, and then you have the ability to fly anything within that class. So thank you for the great questions. Let's take one more. We're at the top of the hour, but Funcracker's been a long supporter.
Also, Michael, we heard your cat in the background. You may want to open the door for her or him.
She likes, well, she gets jealous when I'm on too many calls every day, and she starts yelling at me. So that's what you heard. She wants some attention. It's been a long day for calls. It's been a long couple of weeks for calls. But yeah, so she just wanted some attention. But after this next question, I'll go and pet her. But thanks for recognizing that, Santi.
Yeah, we have Funcracker here.
Yes.
How
hey
are you,
guys,
man?
I'm doing great. Thanks very much for inviting me back on stage. Congratulations with your GAO launch. Super awesome, super successful. Very happy with how everything is going. So first off, let me briefly take a moment to promote an event that all of you might be interested in. The Rebirth campaign is over. It was the greatest source of lore, however, that has been shared with us so far. And for that reason, we, FIA Industries, in collaboration with Grape, are organizing a short story writing competition set in the Star Atlas universe. If you want more information, then check the Content Creators channel. We kicked things off yesterday, so there's no time to waste. And I think it's interesting to know that Santi, Star Savage, and Pablo are actually going to judge your stories. So all the more reason to step up and show your A game when it comes to writing awesome in-fiction stories.
So cool. Love it, Funcracker. And again, guys, this is the power of decentralization. These guys right now are creating content that can live in the Star Atlas metaverse in the future. We're not going to restrict that. We're going to encourage that. So Funcracker, thank you guys, AFIA, for running that event. And yeah, just super exciting. Really cool stuff, man. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. We're also super excited about this. So I actually was now going to say I'm super happy to see Danny on stage, but of course Danny now left. However, I hope you can answer to some extent because we are very, well, a little bit nervous about the upcoming faction selection. So I want to ask you a question, or actually a few about that. I will ask you a few questions. You can just give one combined answer, that whatever you can share. Am I correct in assuming that the players will first select a race and then select their faction because the two have been decoupled? And does the initial faction selection for a player matter less now because they can also add crew members from a different faction, not race, but actually faction afterwards? Can I give the crew member from my faction to a friend from a different faction? Is that how they can get crew members from different factions? How does it work? Do player organizations need their members to be from a single faction, or can we now require members from several? All kinds of questions. I'm really curious if you can shed some light on this, because that is pretty important to us as a guild before this whole process is kicking off.
Yeah, man, great questions. Actually, a reminder for a topic that we wanted to discuss today. The thinking on this, and just like all of our thinking, is very dynamic until everything goes live. But the thinking on it right now in discussion with Danny is that the inter-faction clan system is no longer going to be functional. And so it's important for you as an entire guild, clan, decentralized autonomous corporation, as we call them, to determine what economic region you want to participate in, right? So your entire clan needs to be in the same faction. So that's changed in terms of race or character selection versus faction. Again, we're agnostic to that. So you can pick any faction, and then once you pick a faction, you can pick any avatar or character that you want to play within that faction. So completely, separate. It's really more what you want your character to look like. It's an aesthetic decision versus any type of functional decision within the game.
All right, thank you. So you actually once mentioned that it might be beneficial for factions to perhaps then actually have let's say a daughter company or a dependance in all the factions, right? Because of course the resources that are rare and we like to have all the resources. Is that still something you would suggest?
I don't think I've ever suggested that, and your independent strategy may vary. What we don't want to do is give people strategy, right? Like you guys.
No, I understand.
That's part of the game. So I'm not going to say it's a bad thing to do, but I'm not going to say it's a good thing to do either.
Okay, no, I got you. Thanks very much for your time, for your answers, Michael, and thanks for having me here.
Always good to see you, man. Great questions as always. So thanks so much, Santi. Should we wind this down?
Yep. Before we close, I just want to be clear that we are having a lot of scams right now, like popping everywhere. So please, before you enter your wallet somewhere, double or triple check that it's the correct link. Also, our moderators and admins will never DM you first, and will never ask you for your private keys. So please be very careful with this. And that's the final comment. We'll see in this Townhall, and power to the people, Michael.
Yeah, man. One more thing. We'll also never message you and ask you for funds. This is a common scam perpetuated across crypto. We're never going to ask you for money directly. So no moderators will reach out. No moderators will ask for money. We're not going to ask for your private keys. make sure you're communicating with us in public channels, and be cognizant, be aware that people are posting fake sites, fake OpenSea listings, fake everything. Unless you know for sure that it's from us, if you can confirm it in our official channels with Santi himself or somewhere else in one of our official communication channels, do not trust it. Okay. But yes, Santi, power to the people, and stick it to the man.
Stick it to the man. Goodbye, everyone.